Good.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, alright. Thanks, Rusydi, for having us here.
Right, most welcome.
Okay. Let's just get started by how about you tell us like what is it exactly that you do?
Okay, so REactor is an acronym for the Raffles Entrepreneurship Academy. When the right elements are put together under the right environment, a reaction occurs. So it's sort of like business incubation, but next level. Yeah, and we're trying to sort of build that entrepreneurial ecosystem here in the high school.
Okay.
It's pretty much helping them to turn their ideas into projects and their projects into companies. You know, get them to go out there and like build stuff.
Okay.
Let's see, how we work is that we work alongside alumni. You know, to sort of build this ecosystem. So it's not just students. We sort of classify them into like 3 different broad categories. So they're white belters. So those are the current students. Like
white belters. Okay.
Green belts are budding entrepreneurs, undergraduates who are alumni of the school who are already out there doing stuff of their own. And of course you have the black belters who are your established business leaders.
Alright.
So these are sort of the 3 pillars that we have. And what REactor does is that we bring these pillars together and get them to collaborate across different batches, across different industries, across different startups, and sort of build that ecosystem around it.
So can you just update us on like what are some of the things that REactor has been up to and will be up to in the next few months, or what's coming up for REactor?
Right. Okay, so well, the first thing that we've done is that we run this thing called the Business Leaders Program. So it's sort of like the ultimate CEO training program, but for 17-year-olds. So we don't dumb down anything. They learn everything from the methodologies, customer development, marketing, social media management. Customer development. Okay. Yeah, social media marketing, the works. Right. We bring them down to learning journeys as well. So they've actually visited Google. They'll be visiting
Google in Singapore.
Yeah, Google Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's at Google Asia Pac.
Okay.
So that's the first thing that we do. We run this sort of training program. The second thing that we do is that we have an internship portal. So to date, we've sent over 40 young people to intern in various startups, everything from tech to F&B to social enterprise to fashion. So what we do is that we sit down as young people and we ask them, okay, what is it that you want to learn? And we sort of give them that opportunity to do stuff outside of school. Because we realize that very much it could be a vacuum inside school. And to me especially, I think the whole point of education is to be autodidactic. Meaning to say that you should be able to like pick up anything that you want and learn it on your own. So we felt that internships was like sort of the best way to get people to be able to not just build, but to learn to be autodidactic, to learn how to learn. And yeah, so we've sent like 40 young people. So these are like 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds to intern in various startups. So that has been fun. Yeah. And the third thing that we're doing, which is most recently, is that we have partnered a few universities overseas to set up a student consultancy arm. So we're partnering UIUC, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, Technion in Israel, as well as KTH in Sweden. So
3 countries.
Yeah, 3 different countries. So what we'll be doing is that we'll be consulting for tech startups, and then we'll be rotating. So
next question: what has been the most defining moment in your life?
Most defining moment in life.
Yeah. Just think about it.
I think it is necessary for young co-founders to learn how to hack the system. And when I say hack, I don't mean destroy, but to work around certain things. So let me give you an example. Demo Asia came down to Singapore.
What Asia?
Demo Asia.
Demo Asia.
So Demo Asia is a startup launch conference that's held 5 times around the year. For the first time, it was brought to Singapore, right, in Asia in particular. So Demo was like, it's this launch conference, so lots of startups pitched investors and all that. Tickets were like $500, and I couldn't afford it. So I did the next best thing, and I went to volunteer. So, and they gave me like the best job in the house, which was to take care of all the guest speakers. So all the guest speakers who flew in from overseas were sort of, my responsibility.
Wow.
Right? And a lot of people would actually pay to be in my position so that I could talk to like all these investors and all these guest speakers. But I didn't. I got to attend, the conference, and I got to meet them and stuff like that. And I think, this is pretty much what like my life has been. These opportunities come up. How do you deal with them, and how do you turn these adversities into opportunities?
What drives or what inspires you? Like, what keeps you going?
Right. Max Malmer, right, has this phrase which I really like. He said that the world's biggest problems was that we're not working to solve the world's biggest problems. And I couldn't stand that formal academic education was always so theoretical. It's always done in abstractions. Sure, I mean, academic rigor is good and all that. But like I said, I think the whole point of education, at least in my opinion, is to learn how to be autodidactic. Right? And this was another phrase that I'm taking from the provost of NTU, Professor Bertel Anderson. He said, very interestingly, that there are only two sciences: applied science and not yet applied science.
Not yet applied
science. So the whole point, I mean, which is true, right? I mean, what's the point of building something or doing something if it's not going to make the world a better place?
Yeah, if it's not going to be applied,
If it's not going to be applied, I mean, like, okay, sure. I mean, it's good to have academic abstractions, but it's always better to take those abstractions to see how you can solve the problem. And the stuff that I was learning wasn't really helping me to do that. So I think entrepreneurship and startups are a great way to basically do the stuff that I like, which is like build stuff and meet people. Right? Yeah. So the reason why we probably don't have a Facebook or Google of our own to call in Singapore is because young people are not exposed to the right things. And what I mean by exposed to the right things, I mean, like, if your entrepreneurship club is only selling stuff, like selling water bottles outside the canteen, sure, I mean, selling is great, right? But if you want to look at something that's really high tech and has very high impact, you should also be bringing the students down to like tech conferences. You should bring them down to meet other young co-founders who are programming stuff, building stuff.
What, in your experience, are some of the challenges that entrepreneurs face in trying to found a startup in Singapore?
I think the challenges here are similar to the challenges elsewhere. I think pretty much the first thing would be product market fit. How do you ensure that you're building something that your customers want and you're not building something that they don't want? I mean, any startup, whether it's Singapore or overseas, is going to face that. Well, if you're looking at other challenges, well, there's this argument that's going around saying that Singapore doesn't have enough talent. I don't think that's true. I think that it's a matter of how you're able to bring other people on board your team, right? Because there are two camps. A lot of people are saying that, hey, we're not having enough programmers or IT people who want to like code and do stuff.
Yep.
Right. And on the other hand, they're saying that, hey, we don't have enough good startups that are really exciting enough to attract this top talent. So it's a chicken and egg thing, pretty much. So I don't agree that there's not enough talent. I think that is, and I think that it has to be a two-way thing from both sides. And it's probably going to change for the next few years. Other challenges, I think everyone knows that geographically Singapore is really kind of small. So co-founders here, I think pretty much from day one have always had the thought of building something that can scale. Something that can scale beyond
just the local market.
Yeah, correct. I mean, like if you're gonna like build something for 5 million people, how long can it last, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it keeps them aware. Having a small market keeps them aware that they should internationalize.
Moving on. Any productivity hacks for the viewers that you wish to share?
Okay, I mean, if you're looking at productivity hacks in general, I would suggest you guys go to Quora.com.
Quora.
Yeah, QR. It's one of my favorite sites. Just put
it's a question site.
Yeah, Quora is pretty much Yahoo Answers done right. If you ask me. Yeah, so you could like search, productivity hacks, and you see what other co-founders or other startups or other people, who are not in the entrepreneurial field are doing in regards to productivity. There's a ton. But if you're talking about students specifically, what I do is that I go to school, but I don't really attend classes. It's possible for me because I'm doing a science course. There's always a right answer in a science course, which is different from like a business course.
Okay, all right.
Right. If the professor is just reading from the slides, and if I can read 3 times faster than what the professor is reading off, I'm also just reading myself, right? And I think it's possible, and I think that's what more young people should do. It should be independent study. I think young Singaporeans in general have this really bad habit with asking for permission. They go like they need to have some form of authority, or consent, right, conferred upon them before they start doing something, which is really atypical to what entrepreneurship and startups is about. Entrepreneurs and co-founders go out there and get stuff done,
So
whether or not someone gave them the permission
lack
to
of
do it.
initiative also.
Yeah, and okay, so this is a two-pronged thing, right? Initiative is starting something, and discipline is finishing it. And I think we are lacking on both sides. Yeah, because lots of companies die off. Why? Because young people, they start it as a project, and then after a while their interest wanes and the project dies. Right. So where's the discipline in that? Right. Sure, you can start something, but if you don't finish it, then what's the point? Right. Okay. So like other productivity hacks. Let's see. Well, if you're working, I would say probably get a team. I think a team is important.
A team.
Right. Yeah. You can only do everything yourself so far.
Alright.
After that, you will need a team to support you. So it really works to have a really good team that can work. It does help with productivity tremendously. And if you cannot build rapport with someone, that is going to be really hard for you to not just close deals, but to also talk to people, talk to mentors, talk to prospective clients, talk to possible employees. Yeah, so knowing how to go up to random people and building rapport with them is a really cool productivity hack. Because sometimes what we need might just be a phone call away. Yeah, and you don't know if you don't ask, right?
That's true.
So it's that whole dealing with rejection thing and working outside your comfort zone that's important.
So any advice for future leaders or future wannabe entrepreneurs out there?
I would say some things that I would do is one, just volunteer. I think you should learn how to volunteer and do stuff for free. Now why? Not because that you shouldn't value your time. You should value your time. But when you do stuff for free, there are no expectations of it, right? And then when you surpass those expectations, that's great. Right? You set the bar low, and then you produce something so much higher. It's great. The second thing is because if you're gonna be a co-founder of entrepreneur, you're pretty much not gonna be paid for some time. And if you can't figure out your own lifestyle preferences with a $0 salary for a while, and you can't do things for free, then you might not, really be into entrepreneurship. I would suggest, that you reconsider, right? And finally, doing stuff for free is also fun because it produces so many more opportunities. Just help. I think, if there are opportunities that come along and you go hey, could I help you with this? Could I help you with that? You learn so much more as compared to say, having other stuff. So volunteering is really important to me. So go volunteer in a startup.
Watch out for opportunities.
Yeah, just
ask.
Yeah, ask, volunteer. Hey, can I help? And always help before asking for anything in return. Yeah, and put people first. I think that's one of that's our first core value. Right. I found that when you put people first and you take care of people, everything else just falls into place. It just works.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, like I said, look out for opportunities in the school. As much as doing stuff within the school is great, do stuff outside of school as well. Right? School has a whole bunch of activities inside, but the point about entrepreneurship and startups is that it's always done outside of school as well. Yeah. So do stuff outside of schools, volunteer, ask, and one of my favorites is it is easier to ask for forgiveness. I think inaction should be punished and failure should be rewarded because it is better you go out there and try and you learn something as compared to just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah.
Lots of people are good about talking, about planning to do stuff and not actually doing stuff. But the whole point about startups and entrepreneurship is that you have to do stuff.
Okay, alright. I guess we've come to the end of the interview. Thanks, Rusydi, for being with us here today. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright.